be
your hosts,
Whoa,
Brian
there's the
Sullivan and rapping John Hout.
Oh, hi, we're not lost.
These aren't maps.
No, we know where we are. We may be lost, but somewhere around here are all the pros, all the amateurs, all the juniors, the whole family, 900 players on 11 courses, and I'm telling you, one of them is right here somewhere.
No. Your map is from like 1825, okay? This map is correct. Now, look, this is the sport's biggest event ever. So join us as we relive Worlds 2004.
What? I just heard chains.
No. What you heard was me going, let's go in this direction because the course is over here.
Fine.
Come on,
you go that way, I'm going this
way. The map says there is a course somewhere in here.
All this corn is making me hungry.
It dreams as a flying disc, floating across the Iowa cornfields, propelled by the largest group of disc golfers ever assembled. More than 500,000 flights with one goal: chains. The Professional Disc Golf Association presents the 2004 World Disc Golf Championships.
We are at Des Moines Area Community College for the final day of competition at Worlds 2004. Another beautiful day, as it's been every day this week.
And we pick up the action on hole number 4. This is Michigan's Emily Secrenti, second place in the girls under 16 division. Also for Michigan is our leader, Kelsey Brakel. And she is right down the middle on this one.
Hole number 4 is 325 feet. There's OB water behind the basket, hazards to the left.
From Oregon, our leader in the under 19 girls division is Valerie Miller. Great shot there. And in second place, Katie Jacob of Georgia. Got a little trouble to contend with on the left, but she's past that safely. Second shot now for Kelsey. And that is right where she needs it to be. Emily, who loves that hyzer shot, a little bit off, and that's kind of typical of what we've seen all week from these two. Katie, a little bit short, while Valerie is on the money, and that's what we've seen from these two all week. Valerie has built up a 43-stroke lead, and Katie just a little short on that. She'll take a bogey. Bogey 4 for Emily. And as we're getting the scores on that hole, Brian, let's take a look at what happened during the week.
For the junior girls, Worlds was all about having a good old time, and let's see what happened during the week. We'll begin with the junior girls under 19. Two participants here, Valerie Miller of Oregon and Katie Jacob. Now, Valerie Miller was going to take an early lead. She'll have a 10-stroke lead after day 1, and she's going to turn in a tournament best round of 57 at Waterworks on Friday. That would best any of the junior girls. She will lead going into the finals. For the junior girls under 16, it is a Michigan race here between Kelsey Brakel, Emily Secrenti, and Jennifer Fox. Kelsey Brakel is going to be your early leader and tough to beat, as going into the finals, her lead is 55 strokes. And for the junior girls under 13, 3 other players here. We've got Keller Rodiak of Nebraska, Sarah Scrivener of Michigan, and Carolyn Brakel. And Keller Rodiak will be the early leader, and once again, tough to beat. 24 strokes is her lead going into Saturday's finals.
Now on hole number 5, look at Kelsey. She is so smooth and puts that right down the middle.
Hole 5 is a long one for these ladies, 540 feet. There's some hazards midway.
I think Valerie's going to be up to the challenge on this one. She's got a great snap. Emily puts a good whip on that hyzer and brings it back right down the middle. And here's Katie. She's got great arm speed, good snap, little high on that one. That's going to stall and fall left. This now is the third shot for Kelsey. Smooth and straight once again, a little bit short. Emily makes sure that she's got the right plastic. And predictably goes with the hyzer. That should be in her range. Katie just about put that one in. This is the third shot now for Valerie. Oh, just off the top of the basket. Nice try.
But not a big deal. She just needs to protect her lead.
Kelsey now from downtown.
Boom!
Emily.
Boom! Yeah!
That's fours for both of them and a 4 for Valerie. Unfortunately, Katie had to take a 6 there, but she made up for it soon thereafter because on hole 7, she hit the biggest ace of her life. Picking up now on hole number 8. Good looking drive by Valerie.
This is 310 feet, and trees are protecting the basket here.
Tough approach to the pin. Valerie catches a little bit of wood. Kelsey not quite able to convert. She'll take a bogey. Valerie pars, and there's your champion in the girls under 19 division. It's Valerie Miller and Katie Jacob, Kelsey Brakel and Emily Secrenti, Kella Rodiak, and Sarah Scrivener in the under 13s. Brian got to talk to a very excited Valerie Miller.
Valerie Miller of Portland, Oregon is your winner in the junior girls under 19 division. Valerie, congratulations. You had a big lead going into the final 9. How'd it go out there?
It was tough. There was a lot of water. I didn't go in it, but there was a lot of water. It's real intimidating.
Now, you had a strong finish at the World Championships in 2000 in Michigan. You came in second place. Now you're a champion. How's it feel?
Great. Feels amazing.
It was a dogfight for the junior boys under 16. By midweek, all tied up between Matt Hall of Texas and New York's Nick Newman, both sitting at 216 strokes. Now, very next round, Newman takes the lead after he's turning in an amazing 6 under par at Waterworks. So, what does Matt Hall do? Next round, same course, he turns in a 7 under. He would take the lead. Now, consistency awards in this division go to Tasuku Watanabe of Japan and Nebraska's James Fleege. Both shot very consistently the entire week. And going into the final 9, it's Hall, Newman, Watanabe, and Fleege.
On hole number 1 in the under 13 division, this is Dustin Wolf from New Jersey. His drive just past the pin, and here's our leader, Virginia's Shane Lynch. Birdie attempt is a little off, but he'd clean that up. Good putter, and wait till you see him drive. Remember, this is under 13 division. Let's take a look at a little slow-mo on this one. He gets great speed in the run-up. Everything's loose. He gets fully turned away, big reach back, keeps it in close, and kaboom.
It will not be long before we see him in the Open.
Third place is Makota Yamaguchi. He goes to the sidearm. Take a look at the big long step. Great quick release and a big snap. Got that one a little bit high, but lots of D on the sidearm. Now to the approach on hole number 3. This is Kenta Nagaoka. 925 feet, and he's tapping in for a 4. Meanwhile, back on hole number 1 in the under 16 division, Matt Hall of Houston has the lead over former world champion Nick Newman from New York, Japan's Tasuku Watanabe in 3rd, and James Fleege of Nebraska in 4th. These guys are so impressive. Take a look at this.
Ba-boom!
This is hole number 2, about 540 feet, and placement to the left is very helpful, but Nick hung on a little bit. He's off to the right, even hit a little tree. Tasuku, great power on that one, a little bit high. Take a look. In slow motion, his arm is a blur even at this speed. These guys are amazing, and he's going to putt this for a 3. Now to the monster, 925 feet. That's Nick. Not quite where he wanted to be. Look at the power out of these guys. Not much to contend with on this hole. They can just open wide up.
And we've been seeing a lot of the big S shots on this hole, John.
Speaking of which, look at the perfect shape of that flight. Gets it turned over just where he wants it, comes back a little bit at the end, and he's going to be putting for a 3, Matt Hall. Now take a look how these guys show. Not only do they have the power, but they've got a sweet touch around the green.
Very good looking approaches here, all using a safe hyzer shot.
And Nick puts it just about under the basket. And Tasuku with that hyzer. He's right there. And now, putting for 3, Matt Hall, just low. He wishes he had that one. James Fleege taps in for his 4. It'll be 4 all around. Meanwhile, the big story back on hole number 1 in the under-19 division. Our leader, Johannes Hagberg of Sweden, is looking to be the second player in history from outside North America to win a world title. On hole number 3, this is Dario Ray, who is closing in on second place. Beautiful shot there. Look at the big drive from Hagberg.
We have had our eye on him since before singles competition even began. He finished very well in the distance competition, just under 500 feet.
Currently in second, but feeling Dario Ray behind him is North Carolina's Caleb Wood.
Okay, now watch the D again here.
That's so huge.
Very nice distance from Hagberg.
Johannes, let's take another look. Nothing flashy, nothing special, just great mechanics, as you would expect from a Swede.
And Hagberg, while he came out strong, was keeping an eye on Dario Ray. He came out with a 6-under on Thursday to make his presence known. Another 6-under from Kim Scott Wood of Canada on Thursday. He was trailing by 18 at that point. Now remember, Scott Wood won both the divisional doubles and came second in the putting competition this year. On Thursday afternoon, it was a 7-under for Ray, and by Friday, a 3-under par for Hagberg. That gave him a 16-stroke lead going into the final 9.
So Ray brought lots of momentum, and this is for 3. 925 feet, and he came that close to a 3. It'll be 4s around the horn as we go now to hole number 4. Low ceiling, sloping down to the water.
Nice and smooth there.
Hagberg's going to like that. Caleb Wood, who has been struggling, the lefty, I think he was going for a route that we couldn't see. This is Hagberg now for deuce.
About 60 feet, can't make it.
He'll take his par, and Dario Ray can tie for second, and does. Dario Ray and Caleb Wood now tied for second as we go into hole number 6.
Now this hole is 675 feet. This drive here, very crunchy.
The OB, look at that, is basically at a 45-degree angle to the tee, so you can cut off as much as you want. You want to clear the water and stay in the short grass, as Hagberg just did. Kim Scott Wood, also just about perfect. Now Caleb Wood with the pressure on. Tough shot for a lefty. That needs to push.
A little high here.
It's falling back. Oh, and that's going to be just about all she wrote for Caleb Wood. His second shot off the tee, he will play safe, but it's too little too late, as Johannes Hagberg walks into the history books ahead of Dario Ray, Caleb Wood, and Kim Scott Wood. Under 16, Matt Hall hangs on ahead of Newman, Watanabe, and Fleege. In under 13, it's Shane Lynch, Nagaoka, Yamaguchi, and Wolf. And Brian talked to the winner of the under 10s.
It was a very exciting year for the juniors. They had a huge year and a huge turnout. Your winner in the junior boys under 10 division is young David Wiggins. Where are you from, David?
High Point, North Carolina.
And how old are you?
9 years old.
9 years old. Tell me this, David. How many strokes did you win by?
99 strokes.
This guy won by 99 strokes. You think you're getting ready to take on Barry Schultz next?
No.
What division do you think you'll play next year now that you're a world champion?
Under 12.
All right. Well, we'll see you next year, I hope.
Yeah.
All right. Congratulations.
Thank you.
For the junior boys under 10, Disneyland ain't got nothing on Des Moines. After all, this is the Frisbee Disneyland, and North Carolina's David Wiggins got out to an early 20-stroke lead after 2 rounds on Monday and said, "Catch me if you can." No one would be catching him anytime soon. He would best the field in every single round in the juniors under 10 division. Mark Burnett of Michigan would hang on to second place through most of the week.
As always, one of the highlights of the week was getting to meet all the competitors from around the world. We talked to junior world champion Johannes Hagberg of Sweden.
What was the key to success for you this weekend? Driving, putting?
Driving. I didn't make any.
I know I did mistakes, but not so much of them. Kept out of trouble.
Are you a very good putter?
Sometimes. I had a few rounds where I putted really well, but then I got a few rounds where I didn't make one single putt. So overall, an average putter just this tournament. But
Are there any particular players at home that you look up to, that you try to play like?
Thomas Ekstrom got the best driving technique in the world, so I look up to him. And Jesper Lundmark. He's got a winning head above all.
It's exciting to watch the disc golf action from Worlds in Iowa, but the real deal is to get out there and play. Disc golf is a lifelong activity that promotes good health, flexibility, concentration, and mental discipline. It's a game for everyone, no matter what age or what level of play. The sport is also an excellent way for a company to become more involved in their community. The growth and development of disc golf are driven by the PDGA, the Professional Disc Golf Association, where the players build the sport of the future today. Let's move on to the Women's AM Masters, and Deidre Edwards of Texas was the clear favorite coming into this one, as she has been tearing it up all year long. Sure enough, by the end of the first round, Edwards tied up for the lead with Minnesota's Debbie Huckabee, and by the end of the second round, it was Edwards, the clear leader, and she would not release her grip lock on that lead for the entire week. So it would be a battle for second place between Debbie Huckabee of Minnesota, North Carolina's Denise Kaiser, and Susan Rowden of Florida. Now going into the very last round before the finals, Rowden slips up at Pickard, shoots a 75. That is going to send her out of the finals by a single stroke. So your finalists for the Women's and Masters are Edwards of Texas, followed by Denise Kaiser of North Carolina, who would trail her by 16, Debbie Huckabee of Minnesota, and Maryland's Rhonda Ritter.
On hole number 4, it's Denise Kaiser of North Carolina up first. That gets past the trouble. Debbie Huckabee of Minnesota got a hold of that one. She puts herself in good shape. Maryland's Rhonda Ritter with a good rip. A little bit of a tail on that one. Finds a little bit of trouble. And our leader is Deidre Edwards of Houston.
I think they just wanted to throw from the shade here, John.
Well, we don't frankly have much of a race going on here, and these are some wily veterans in the Advanced Masters division. So we would expect some smart plays like that, and Rhonda got hold of that one. She's even a little bit long. Whereas Denise comes up a little bit short. This is Debbie now for 3. Great run, just a hair low. Deatra, a little shy.
Not a lot of wind for these ladies to deal with this morning.
I'm having a great time.
All right.
Iowa's outstanding.
All right.
I'm
Beautiful.
from Maryland,
Oh, cool. Yeah.
so it was a long drive to get here.
Iowa is outstanding, and we move on now to hole number 5. Good rip by Denise.
This one's 540 feet. They've got a long way to go.
And Debbie got a hold of that one. Out of all 11 courses that we've seen this week, this is the only temporary course. I know the locals are hoping that the staff at DMAC might sometime come around and decide to make this a permanent course. And a look at Deatra's drive from up on our scaffold. Beautiful shot. This will be a bonus 4 for any of these women.
Oh.
And Debbie just about got the 4. Rhonda makes that for a 5. And we move on to hole number 6. Deatra did get the only 4 on the previous hole. Now this is the shorter version of hole number 6. They don't have to throw across the water.
No, but they still have the water coming into play, and another safety dance here.
No, she didn't look like she was even aiming for the short grass, but Debbie sure is. Yeah, a little tail on it. She'll be just in the fringe there. And wow, Rhonda looks like she picked the most overstable disc in her bag. She's not going anywhere near the water. Debbie, another nice run, and Denise makes the putt. She and Deatra will take 4s on the hole, and we go to hole number 7. Again, slightly shorter version, but this time still across the corner of the water.
There's a good one.
And Debbie, she is slinging them. Rhonda is money. Rhonda and Debbie will take deuces on the hole, and it finishes up with Deatra Edwards in first, followed by Denise Kaiser, Debbie Huckabee, and Rhonda Ritter.
For the Advanced Senior Grandmasters, a very exciting week. Lead changes throughout. And we'll start on Monday with a terrific round at Maytag for Minnesota's Al Foppel. No relation to Ted Koppel. He turns in a 58 and is going to be your leader throughout the first couple of rounds until Ewing on Tuesday. A 68 for Bob Chard of Oregon. He would take the lead. John Ross of Oregon would wrestle that lead from him after another round at Ewing. And that's how it's going to go for the rest of the week. Back and forth between Ross and Bob Chard of Oregon. And going into the last round before the finals, it was looking pretty solid for Ross and Chard, but Chard slips and shoots a 60 at Waterworks. That is not going to do the job. So going into the finals, it is Oregon's John Ross and Minnesota's Al Foppel, 1 stroke behind.
Now out to hole number 6, where we've got another card with mixed divisions. On the tee is Karen Brown from Montana, currently second in the Advanced Women Grandmasters, and a mighty heave. Now John Ross, look at this guy rip. 60 years old from Oregon. He's our leader in the Advanced Men Senior Grandmasters. Currently in second place, just 2 strokes back. Al Foppel from Minnesota has been fighting hard, but he's going to be in the tall grass. And our women's leader, Advanced Grandmaster Women, this is Tony Hoyman from Oregon.
Hoyman has dominated this field all week long. She started out with a 5-stroke lead and never lost that. But for these men, these senior Grandmaster amps, holy cow, a field of 11, and after virtually every round there has been a lead change. It's been back and forth between Foppel, Ross, and Oregon's Bob Chard. Now after Friday's rounds, it was a 1-stroke difference between Ross and Foppel. Meanwhile, Chard out of the finals by a single stroke.
And as Foppel puts his second shot in the tall grass, it's going to be an opportunity for Ross to pad his lead. Karen's going to come up a little short there, and she'll take a 4 on the hole. And Tony's safe. She's going to take her 4 as well. But John Ross takes a 3. His lead is up to 3 going into hole number 7. Look at this sidearm right up by the pin. No signs of letting up on this guy. Karen Brown.
Down lower. Oh.
Good body English. And
It
Al
works.
Foppel. Yeah, heck yeah. Al Foppel trying to make something happen with just 3 holes left to go. And he just about got middle there. Tony Hoyman now in her victory lap. Good looking drive. That's in her range. She is her division's putting champion. Al Foppel. He needed that to keep things close, and John Ross is going to drive another nail into Al's coffin. That's going to push the lead to 4. 2 holes to go, and we move on to hole number 9. Tony's approach a little deep. Karen's going to play that one safe, and John Ross, he'll put one more stroke on that card. That's not going to hurt him at this point. And as we add them all up, Oregon's Val Miller wants to know if maybe she beat Tony. Sorry, Valerie. Tony got you by 2. And she finishes ahead of Karen Brown, Sue Leslie, and Yvonne Jameson. On the guy side, John Ross finishes ahead of Al Foppel. Bob Chard and Tom Blackburn did not play in the final 9.
One of the most beloved players in the Pro Women's Grandmasters division is Kentucky's Sylvia Vokes, a multiple world champion. And by the end of round 3, it was a 10-stroke lead for Mrs. Vokes over California's Susie Horn. And try as she might, Horn just could not close the gap throughout the week. Going into the finals on Saturday, it is Vokes by 27 over Susie Horn. For the disc golfers in the Pro Legends division, it's about more than just having fun. It's about having fun while you're kicking the other guy's butt. And PDGA number 9, Stancil Johnson, would take the early lead, 1 stroke over Ohio's Bill Erkenbrecher, followed by Ted Williams and Jack Ekstrom. Now, Johnson would maintain his lead until round 3, when Ted Williams of North Carolina turns in a 60 at Pickard. That gives him a 4-stroke lead. He would maintain that until Friday. The round at Big Creek, Johnson turns in a 60, and they are tied up going into the final 9. It is Ted Williams and Stancil Johnson, both at 301 strokes.
On the number 7 tee, Ted Williams has just picked up 5 strokes over the last 4 holes. His lead is now 4, and he is well safe there. Second place in the Women's Pro Grandmaster Division is Susie Horn from Altadena, California. She, of course, trails the many-time world champion from Kentucky, Sylvia Vokes.
One classy lady right there.
Yeah, that might be a putt. And Stancil Johnson, who took the lead on hole number 2 but will not give up, goes to the sidearm and pins it.
I think they're paying each other $1 for dots here.
Nice shot.
Thank you.
What was the technique? What was your secret?
Pure luck.
And a master of modesty as well. Susie lays up. She's going to take a 3. Here's Ted now. 4 strokes ahead, and he takes a run at it and goes over the top of the basket. Didn't even think about laying up. And Sylvia cashes the deuce.
Very nice work.
Stancil now is under the basket, and Ted's par putt is wide right. He's going to take a bogey. Stancil's going to tap in, and the lead will be 2 with 2 holes to go.
I was the first to throw the sidearm in a guts game in 1968.
Jeez, who were some
Was
of the
that
guys?
Ed Hedrick, Jay Shelton,
Okay.
Steve Sewell, and Ed's son, Ken Hedrick. And we beat the champions from the North Central. They were not happy about that.
Let's move ahead to the 9th and final hole. It's the signature hole. 550 feet OB water on the right and behind the basket. Very tricky.
Ted did pick up another stroke on hole number 8, so he goes into the last hole now with a 3-stroke lead. Plays that one out close to the water, but pulls it back down the middle of the fairway. Sylvia takes a similar line. She's right in the middle as well. Now Stancil with his last gasp. Goes to the sidearm roller, gets good distance on it, and keeps it in the fairway.
Very nice.
Susie bombs one out there, coming back in and avoiding any trouble over there on the left. Sylvia, no reason to mess around. And Stansel. He's got a lot of thick grass to fight there. He could sure stand to take a 3 or 4 on this hole, put a little more pressure on Tad, but it's going to be tough from there.
Stansel has written extensively on disc sports, and he is actually the guy who's credited with coming up with the expression, when a ball dreams, it dreams it's a Frisbee.
Indeed. And now Ted, second shot, turns that over. It's heading for OB. That amphitheater is out of bounds, and he has no business messing around here. He's got to be grateful that he stayed out of trouble. Susie.
Good looking approach there.
Very nice. Third shot now from Ted from the amphitheater, and he put a little too much on that down by the water. He's doing his best to make this finish exciting. Stansel lays up with his 4th throw, and Ted finishes off in style, no question about that. That will be his 4th championship in the men's pro legend division at the spry young age of 74.
It's the most sadistic, enjoyable experience you ever had.
Sadistic enjoyable?
Sadistically pleasurable. Yes, it is. It was a great turn. It's a great courses, and
beautiful courses.
Everybody, a lot of hospitality. Well run well. I mean, everything ran on time.
Good round.
Yeah, it was exciting. It's the best exciting one so far because Stan and I started out tied this morning.
Champ. Yeah, you beat me that round. No, but I think so. 28 strokes ahead of me.
And there you have it. Sylvia Vokes over Susie Horn, and in a thriller, Ted Williams over Stansel Johnson. And now to the men's senior pro grandmasters. We pick up the action on hole number 5 with Al Ballou of Tennessee, one of the great surprises of this week.
A surprise indeed. Ballou had been a PDGA board member back in the 80s and early 90s. The only player really to challenge leader Pete Shive this week. Shive had been leading from the get-go, and Ballou within 3 late in the week. Not now, though.
He's down 13 right now. That was Jack Gilmore from Iowa. Also in the group is Pete May of Augusta. And, of course, our leader, looking for his 4th world title, Pete Shive from Wyoming. There's Ballou with his approach shot here on number 5. Pete May, who sprayed that last one and going to come up a little short on this one. Gilmore for par. Just missed everything. But Peter Shive is in for his par. Let's take a look at it again from up high. 2 good long throws from the big man, and the putt is in the heart. He takes the sole par.
Very nice follow through on that.
Actually, Salt and Pepper League for most seasons.
Pete fishing for excuses there, I think.
Now to hole number 6, and look how this guy can sling it.
He's going to make it all the way across the water here, right on the fairway.
And in the short grass. You know, Pete has a big distance advantage over all these guys in general, and he's going to be able to show that off on this fairly open final 9 here at DMAC.
Ballou finds himself at the short pad.
And Jack Gilmore, he's playing it safe. Nothing wrong with that. And Pete May cranks one out there.
Now, Pete May is another interesting story here, John. He is a current PDGA board member, but his history is in table tennis. He's a world-class table tennis player, he and his son Derek. And a few years ago he said, wow, I really love this game, disc golf, So he said, he was not a very good player his first couple of years, but he has just attacked this game like a mad, frenzied animal, and his game has come way, way far in those short few years.
Absolutely. Last year, he was the only one to really push Shive. He came within 5 strokes on the shorter, tighter courses in Flagstaff, and I know he felt like he really had a chance this year. He trained hard. He had high expectations. Unfortunately, he lost 10 strokes in the first couple rounds. He told me he was pushing a little too hard. Now, second shot for Shive, and that is a beauty. Got the distance right, got the angle right. He'll be putting for a 3 here. And he's got it. That's the first 3 we've seen all day from the long pad on this hole. On now to hole number 9.
This one looks like trouble.
Ooh, yeah, he got a hold of it, but it needs to come back. Not gonna happen. Blue down the middle. These guys are throwing far enough now that the trees on the left are starting to become a factor on the drive as opposed to some of the earlier divisions. But these guys all looking safe here.
Yeah, that's a really good landing zone, especially since there's a truck right now on the fairway.
We need to see if we can get rid of that one before we finish up. Now, after taking a penalty stroke, this will be the 3rd shot for Mr. Shive. It'll be a little short, certainly safe. Blue, look at that. He's only been playing 1 tournament a year the last few years, but obviously he's still got his form. That was very nicely done. Pete May is going to try to push through the leaves. And Jack Gilmore gets it up high. And, watch out for that sidewalk.
Now, that sidewalk is not out of bounds, so he has no worries there.
No, just kidding. Pete Shive from his knees.
Wind's picking up a little bit as the day continues here.
Yeah, it's starting to blow a bit. And we're just going to wrap things up here as we take it down the home stretch. Great week for Al Ballou. I certainly would expect that he's happy with a strong second place this year after a lengthy layoff from World's competition. Pete May, I know he'll always finish with a smile, even if he was hoping to do a little better this year. And Iowa's own Jack Gilmore finishing in the top 4. But once again, it is Peter Shive up on top of the Senior Grandmasters. Very solid performance all the way through. Al Ballou 2nd, Jack Gilmore is 3rd, and Pete May 4th. Brian caught up with one of the most interesting guys out there. This year's champion once again, Peter Shive.
It seemed like it was going back and forth till the last couple of rounds, and then I started to pull away.
And the final 9, how did that go for you?
It went great. I had a 4 on that 925-foot hole, and I had a 3 on this big long one that comes around the corner of a lake. I did throw one in the lake on 18, but I just wanted to peg it out there as hard as I could, and I didn't care. It didn't really matter then. I think I finished 3 over par. I finished with a 30 on the final 9. That'll be a good score.
Peter Shive, a terrific performance this year. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
One of the most exciting races of the weekend. It was the Women's Pro Masters. We pick up the action on hole number 8. This is Lisa Warner battling it out with last year's champion, Peggy Barry. They came into the final round tied. Lisa picked up 2 strokes over the first 2 holes. She's now up by 3. Filling out the foursome are Sheila Kirkham of New Mexico and Susan Powlin of Florida.
And Warner was the big surprise here, considering that she told Disc Golf World News that she came into this event at the last minute, hadn't played much. She was trailing early on to last year's surprise champ, Peggy Berry, who came out of nowhere in Flagstaff. Warner had the lead by the 3rd round. She led by 2 after that, 7 later on in the week, and Peggy Berry turned it up a notch on the final day of regulation. They were tied up coming into the finals.
And here's one of the nice surprises of this division. First world appearance by Susan Powlin. She's from Florida, better known in the ultimate world up to this point, but she's clearly a force to be reckoned with now in disc golf. And one of the favorites coming in, another lefty, Sheila Kirkham, managing to smile the whole way through. Didn't quite get where she wanted to be this year as she joins the Masters for the first year in 2004. Susan on her approach,
That was a little bit short. Yeah.
But what a great week for Lisa Warner. Second place finish last year. She's going to come out on top this year. Native of Columbus, Ohio. And Peggy Berry, who now in her career has a first place finish and going to be a second place finish. Not too bad on the stats. Well, Lisa playing extra safe from her knees. Susan. Oh, off the rim, and that's rolling down by the water, but curls over in time. And she's going to finish strong. Nice putt to finish things out for Susan Powlin.
A terrific tournament for her this weekend, and of course, for Lisa Warner as well.
There is our champion. It's Lisa Warner, Peggy Berry, Susan Powlin, and Sheila Kirkham in the Women's Pro Masters.
It was a bunch of hot under-par rounds early on for the amateur Grandmasters, and as midweek approached, Chris Bright of Kansas bubbled up through this field of 42 to take a lead. He would hang on through the end of the week through most of the rounds. By the end of Friday, Bright was leading it by 4 and would increase that lead to 7 after Saturday's semifinal round. John Houck caught up with another Grandmaster who has a particularly unique perspective on this year's Worlds.
Charlie Bauersfeld is playing in the Advanced Senior Grandmasters Division. He's from Kansas City, and you said you've been playing how long?
4 years this month.
Over the last 4 years, your vision has been deteriorating. Tell us what it's like for you now.
I'm legally blind. I had to give up driving approximately 7 or 8 years ago. I really don't see much TV. I don't read or write. This has been a slow, progressive eye disease that I've had over the last 30, 35 years. I first noticed it in Vietnam, but it was a far cry from what it is now.
Tell us how you get around the course now. It seemed to me at one point I saw you hit a tree off the tee, and you kind of were able to follow it a little bit. And of course, you've got your nephew out here helping you line up your shots. Tell us how that works.
Whoever I'm playing with, and in this case in a large tournament, my nephew's caddying for me because I need someone to help me, to point me in the right direction, tell me about overhang, tell me I need to throw something that goes straight and fades right or fades left, and things like that. And probably even more important, distance, because I putt solely off distance. I practice putting a lot. It's the only area of the disc golf game that I can practice without having to have someone with me.
Do you know the difference in the sound between hitting the right side of the chains and hitting the left side?
I know the difference when I hit the middle.
Well, great, Charlie. It's great to see you out there.
Well,
good luck
to
you
this weekend. Okay, thank you.
And we'll pick up the action on hole number 3. This is Mark Bowman. his approach shot on this 925-foot hole, and that's a bit strong, almost down in the water. Doug Singleton, he's from North Carolina. He is the sidearm guy, and he has amazing touch. Great shot there. Chris Bright, our leader, he's from Lawrence, Kansas. He'll throw the sidearm too, and he's under the pin as well. Steve Simmons is from the state of Washington. He is currently in third place. Ooh, lost a couple strokes to Bowman on the first hole, but it'll be fives around on that hole. And we move now to hole number 4, where Chris Bright makes a nice putt. That's for a par. Bowman had a big drive, almost went in the water, but he converts for his deuce, picks up another stroke on third place, and he's now 3 strokes behind Simmons.
You know, as we get a better look at some of these guys, I'm wondering if we should send a marshal down there to check some IDs, because I'm really wondering if they're all grandmasters. They don't look 50 or older.
No, that is definitely hard to believe in some of these cases.
Now, Bright, like a good realtor, really knows how to close the deal, and a big round for him yesterday at Waterworks, a 4 under par. That put him into a 4-stroke lead, and he's enjoying more lead here in the final round.
Now to hole number 6, the big hole across the water. Bright plays safe. Singleton can be a tough hole for lefties and sidearmers because they're breaking away from the bank, and that was not actually even close.
And the wind has been picking up a little bit here as the afternoon continues. They need to be aware of that.
Simmons taking on a lot of water, but safe. And Mark Bowman, who's got himself a hot round going, just, great second shot there. Just a wee bit behind Simmons in the race for third. Good looking effort from Bright. And Singleton. Well, let's see how he does from a little further out. Not too shabby. Now, Simmons, who has to feel Bowman behind him. He sure has a casual style, and maybe a bit too casual on that one. Bowman. That is actually for a 3. He's going to take a 4 here, and Singleton with the sidearm putt. That's amazing.
I like the forehand putt. That's
fantastic.
Fun.
So, Bowman takes a 4. Simmons takes a 5. The lead is down to 2. Bowman picks up another stroke on hole number 7. So they're just 1 stroke apart. Here's Steve Simmons. His drive doesn't really give him a good look at it. He gave it a little bit of a run and puts it in for his 3. Bowman also takes a 3. So we go into the final hole. This is a victory lap for Chris Bright. But the race is on for third place, just 1 stroke differential now.
And it has been a terrific performance from Chris Bright. We may very well see him in the pro ranks real soon.
Mark Bowman has to be thinking about finding a way to get a 3 on this hole to put the heat on Simmons. And once again, Singleton, whose normal sidearm shot would break toward the water, puts it on the ground here. And a fine-looking shot. And there is that casual throw, and very effective from Steve Simmons. Singleton back onto the ground. This grass is pretty thick. It's tough to put a roller through there, but he's got pretty good zip on that.
And tough to put that in the water, too.
You got it. And again, that sidewalk not out of bounds. Simmons trying to close the deal. That's a good-looking shot. He's guaranteed a 4 from there. That's going to put the pressure on Bowman. No pressure on this guy. Got to talk to him earlier in the week. He told me that he played in his first flying disc tournament, 1976. Now, here's Bowman with the big hyzer. Holy cow, that looked like it caught some wind, got blown way off course. His only chance is to take a 3 here, and that's going to be tough from where he is. Let's see what he's got. I guess he didn't have much of an opportunity there. He just lays up. And if Simmons gets up and down, that will ensure...
There it is again.
That's unbelievable. I mean, that's with a downhill slope to the water behind the basket, and he's throwing that shot. Mark Bowman will finish up in 4th. Simmons hangs on to third, and there's our champion, Chris Bright from Lawrence, Kansas. Very impressive in what I believe was his first Worlds. Handshakes all around, and there's our leaderboard. Bright, Singleton, Simmons, and Bowman. Many of this year's players had never been to Iowa before and didn't know what to expect. They were thrilled with the courses, but there was more than that. Des Moines was a great place to hang out, and the State Fair was in town the same time that we were. This World Championship set records in many areas, but one of the things that really stood out was the extra effort they put into entertainment and all the ancillary events. That effort was headed up by Iowa's own Jay Redding.
It was a monster field of 118 players for the Am Masters this year, and the week got off to a bang for Brian Wagler of Illinois. He bangs home an ace on his very first shot of the tournament at Carroll Marty. Congratulations to him. Right before the Great Shuffle, the contender field included Wyoming's Steve Kozlowski, Michigan's Michael Frame, Matthew Egan of California, and Rob Kelly of North Carolina. After the round at DMAC on Wednesday, your leaders were Oregon's Doug Salter and Michigan's Frame. They were tied up at 17 over par. But Salter was just getting ready to kick it in overdrive, and he was going to take the lead and hold on to it through Saturday's semifinal round. He is your leader by 15 going into the finals, followed by Missouri's Mark Ellert, Michigan's Rick Ratman Hunt, and Steve Kozlowski of Wyoming. The high-profile players in this division included PDGA Commissioner Teo Posey, and by playing at Worlds this year, Mr. Posey becomes the first commissioner since 1993's Elaine King to play at Worlds while serving as commissioner. He also led us at this year's players meeting.
Gentlemen, Becky Zalek.
Hey. Thank you, thanks. Thank you. I want to thank everybody for coming. 3 years ago, when we decided to put our bid in, so we thought, what can we do to share it with everybody who plays disc golf in our disc golf family? So we put a bid in, and we won the bid, so thank you for coming, yay!
You know, I don't think I know of another city in disc golf where you can take a city map and you can study it carefully and you realize that there is a disc golf course in almost every major park in the city and surrounding area. And that's what we have in Des Moines.
My responsibility this week is for scoring, and we want this to be a smooth process for all.
Man who's organized all this intimidating for us, Jay Redding. Can I get a woo? We have, and please stand up, we have 18 players from Japan.
I'm proud and honored to be part of the largest disc golf event in the history of the sport.
This is great. Pick up the action on hole number 1. We see Rick Hunt of Marlette, Michigan. He is in a tie for second place, along with Mark Ellert from Columbia, Missouri.
And what we got here is an old-fashioned horse race.
Well, and not just for second, because currently in fourth, just 3 strokes behind these guys, is the pride of Laramie, Wyoming, Steve Kozlowski. Our leader is Doug Salter from Portland, Oregon. 3s around the horn on hole number 1. We go into hole number 3. This is Rick Hunt, his approach shot on the 920-foot. Hole number 3, he'll take a 4. Kozlowski can't quite convert. He's going to take a 5. But with that 4, Hunt moves ahead. This is Kozlowski on 4 for deuce. Can't quite convert, but he will take a 3, while Ellert and Hunt both take 4s. So as we go to 5, and we take a look at Doug Salter, our leader, going into hole 5, it's Hunt, 1 stroke ahead of Ellert, who is 1 stroke ahead of Kozlowski. And Kozlowski turns it over a little bit, but it's coming back. And got himself a little tree. Rick Hunt. And that drive is screaming. He hit the tree, but he had plenty of juice when he did it.
These 4 players have outlasted a field of 118, and not surprisingly, all of their PDGA ratings are very similar. Your high rating is Salter at 962, the low rating, Kozlowski, 924.
And Kozlowski with a little trouble there, but he makes a good out. This is Salter for 3. Basically lays up. Hunt for 3. Off the tray. And Kozlowski, he hits the 3, so he pulls himself into a tie with Ellert, as Ellert is off the top of the basket. So Hunt alone in second, but 1 stroke behind are Ellert and Kozlowski as we move on to 6th. Nobody wants to duck out of the horse race by losing a stroke in the water here.
That's a good one.
Koz is safe, so is Ellert.
Kozlowski now, who's, I don't know that he's more than 150 feet from the basket, and he throws one straight up in the air.
Don't like that one at all. He's going to be well short.
And I think maybe nerves are getting to these guys. Ellert can't put that underneath. Salter, who, like Chris Bright, played in his first disc tournament back in the 70s. Hunt goes over the top.
That'll be a tester.
And here's Kozlowski trying to keep pace.
And dial 911. We got a bleeder here.
Well, he's having a hot round, but it's going to be a 5 there. Now, on hole number 7, it's birdies for Ellert and Kozlowski. 3s around the horn on 8. So we're going to go into hole number 9 with quite a race on our hands. This is Salter on the tee of 9.
He's headed right for the landing zone, and that is looking good.
Right now, Hunt and Ellert are tied for second. Kozlowski is 1 stroke behind. This is Ellert. This hole is 3-able, but it's not easy, especially if you're that far left.
Tough 3. That'll be a blind shot to the basket.
Kozlowski. We've seen some fireworks from him in this round. Well, that's close. Woof. Flirting with the water, but he stays dry. Hunt. He's got a strong throw, and that's a good overstable disc. No question about that one. Hunt now. His second shot. Goes for the screaming line drive. And he's probably about 40 feet with the tree in the way. Ellert now. He got a hold of that one. And it's coming back in. That is a great shot. He's within 30.
Yeah, he's going to have a putt from there.
Now Kozlowski with the hyzer. That is short, and it gets a roll behind the trees. That's going to put him in real tough position. Salter just cruising home to victory. He'll have a putt for a 3. Hunt now for 3. Oh, my.
Yeah, we saw Stansel Johnson do the same thing earlier.
I don't know if he thought those branches were even going to come into play. This is Ellert to take second all by himself. Yes. Mark Ellert pulls out a 3 on the last hole, and he's going to take second all by himself. Kozlowski misses again. He's going to take a 5, and we'll finish in 4th. But a great round and a lot of excitement from him. But your champion this year, that's the man, Portland's Doug Salter.
5. Good job, guys.
Handshakes around the horn. Great spirit. That was probably the most exciting race we've seen so far today. And here's how it finishes up. It's Salter, Ellert, Hunt, and Kozlowski.
Since 1983, Innova has been the choice of champions in disc golf. These are the 2004 Innova champions. United States champion, Ken Climo. Master World champion, Brad Hammock. World distance record holder, Christian Sandstrom. Senior Grandmaster World champion, Peter Scheid. Grandmaster World Champion, David Greenwell. United States Women's Champion, Des Redding. World Champion, Barry Schultz. For the last 21 years, more world and national champions have chosen Innova than all other brands combined. Innova, #1 in disc golf.
And we move on to the Pro Grandmasters division. If you got to play in this division, you know you're going to be up against a bunch, not just a couple, but a bunch of disc golf Hall of Famers. And most of these guys have gotten into the Hall of Fame because they can shoot the lights out and have been doing so for many years. After the first round, your leader was the Kentucky wonderkind Rick Vokes. He would lead it by 1 with a 56 at Walnut Ridge. Florida's Steve Slazer, though, would take the lead from him by 2 after the second round on Monday. However, through midweek, it was all about Vokes until David Greenwell, another Kentucky wonderkind, would take the lead from him after a round of 60 at Pickard. Vokes would get it back, and then Greenwell would get it back from him. Now, listen to this. Going into the semifinal round on Saturday, Greenwell and Vokes 1 stroke apart. However, Vokes could not maintain on Saturday. So going into your final, it is David Greenwell of Kentucky by 9, followed by California's Snapper Pearson, Vokes, and Steve Slazer of Florida.
Florida, Steve Slazer.
That's PDGA Executive Director Brian Hediger doing the introductions. And you see our final foursome. Up first, our leader from Louisville, Kentucky, David Greenwell, who really separated himself from the field this morning.
And that's probably the best shot we've seen on this hole from the longs today. It's only 330 feet.
Second up, from San Diego, Snapper Pearson, who goes to the turnaround. And up third, just 2 strokes behind Snapper, from Bowling Green, Kentucky, Dr. Rick Vokes. And in fourth, 3 behind Dr. Rick, Palm Bay, Florida's Steve Slazer. Got a little tree help there. Dave will get the only deuce on the hole, 3s for everybody else. And on hole number 2, Snapper bogeys. That brings Dr. Rick within a stroke of second place as we look now at the approach shots on the long and open but still treacherous hole number 3. Snapper's going to come up a little short. Dr. Rick That is not going to be short. In fact, that's trouble. Oh.
Yeah, the suffering continues for Dr. Rick after that brutal round this morning.
He did have a tough round, and that did not help his cause. Very uncharacteristic from Dr. Rick. His comeback, not going to happen. He's going to take a 6. Greenwell takes the 4. Snapper for 4. Now it's a little bit low, but he's still going to take that stroke back from Dr. Rick. Slazer takes his 4. He picks up 2 on Dr. Rick there, so we go to number 4. These are putts for birdie. Or layups for par in some cases. Dave. So close. And Slazer, he's got it. So he is going to tie Dr. Rick now. They are tied for 3rd.
And you may be noticing that Slazer uses that turbo putt. Now, he's from Florida, where they use that, I would suggest, more often than anywhere else in the world.
Well, I think they have a lot of palmetto bushes by the basket, and they have to have some way to get over the top of it and still drop it in. That turns out to be a good way to go. Now we look at the drives on 540 feet.
This one's a little high.
Couple of trees on either side. Definitely a hole that these guys want to take a 3, but there is a little trouble there, and there you can see Rick and Slazer tied for 3rd, 2 strokes behind Snapper. Rick, not quite. Slazer for 3. Just barely, it's in. That's one of the advantages of that upside-down turbo putt. It drops so fast. It's safe, and there's no need for chains.
Ugly but effective.
So Slazer is going to pick up another stroke on Dr. Rick. He now pulls ahead. Snapper maintains his 2-stroke lead over 3rd, and we go to hole number 6. This is the big hole over the water. Definitely a hole where an aggressive play and 2 well-executed shots can get you a 3. Slazer's not thinking 3. No reason for Greenwell to be thinking about a 3.
No, he could get farther right, but he's playing it safe here.
Snapper. He's going to take the safe shot as well. That's going to put them so far left. They're just going to be too far away from the pin to even think about a 3 here. Rick. There's the aggressive play. Got a nice little lift there. He's clear of the water. And he's in the short grass. This might be a hole where he can make up a little of that ground that he lost. Slazer, nice rip, but there's no way he's getting near that basket. Dave got a good hold of that one, but that's going to be up safe in the tall grass. And it was 4s around there. As we go now to Greenwell on 9. He's just given a clinic at this point. On hole number 7, everybody got a birdie except Slazer. And Dr. Rick and Slazer stayed even on 8. So we have a tie again for 3rd place between Dr. Rick and Slazer. This is a hole where 2 good shots again will get you 3, but lots of trouble.
Neither of those players can afford to make a mistake here, and so far everyone is finding that landing zone.
Well, everyone except Peter Shive today, I think. I think that's the only one we've seen in the water so far. And Snapper, boy, low and hard. There's no way that's going anywhere near the water, and low enough that it can't possibly fade out into those trees. Very cagey play. Slazer now, 2nd shot. Distance looks good. It's a little right, needs to hang on. And it does. He's not much outside of 40, but that tree is probably right in his way.
He was flirting with that water, too.
That's going to leave the door open for Dr. Rick. A 3 here could secure 3rd place. Greenwell with nothing to lose. Oh, look at this. Beautiful shot. And Snapper with a 2-stroke pad. He doesn't need to do anything fancy. He just needs to stay out of trouble here. Rick for 3. That's high. Going to leave him a little comeback. That opens the door for Slazer. He just really didn't have room to run at it there. So, Dave Greenwell. He can take another shot. Snappers Just going to take it easy here. Rick to...
Oh, and he needed that and just can't make it happen.
That is rough. So Slazer will take third all alone, a stroke ahead of Dr. Rick. And Snapper will just tap in. And let's make sure we make it official for our champ here. There you go, David Greenwell. 2 titles in the Grandmaster Division, 2 in the Master Division. Just another brick in the wall of a stellar career for Dave Greenwell.
And after leading much of the week, this has got to be a very disappointing finish for Dr. Rick.
Well, he hung tough, has had a lot of injury issues over the years, but here's how it finishes up. It's Greenwell, Pearson, Slazer, and Vokes. And Brian, talk to the champ.
Your 2004 Grandmasters champion is David Greenwell. David, this is your 4th championship. How's it feeling?
You know, it always feels like it's the first one, and it's unbelievable.
Now, you went into the final day with a 1-stroke lead over Rick Vokes. Tell me what happened.
You know, it was a hotly contested division all week long. There was never more than a 3-stroke gap, and this morning I just kind of caught fire, and they didn't, and that was the end of that.
I know that your knees have been giving you some trouble in the past. How about this year?
This year's no exception. I don't, like making excuses about them. That's all part of the aging process, I think. But put on some knee braces and had some good massages during the week, and it worked out great.
And the week overall for you, what are your overall impressions of the Worlds this year?
Wow, they were awesome. I mean, it may be the best Worlds ever. The courses were fantastic. The weather was freakish but beautiful, and couldn't ask for anything more, really.
We don't have to approach parks and different areas to put our courses in. They're coming to us to put disc golf courses in. That's very positive. I was approached by the Lehigh Valley Convention and Visitors Bureau last fall, and they asked me, how do we get the World Championships to Pennsylvania? And that is really awesome. So I anticipate next year's tournament, since they're opening all these doors for us and they're working hand in hand, and it's really neat to see how Frisbee is truly uniting the community of Allentown, from the Boy Scouts to the Fortune 500 companies to the media and all these different avenues. And don't tell anybody, but my goal is to make next year's Pro Worlds the first $100,000 purse in disc golf history. So if you'll all leave $1 on your way out of the door tonight, that'll go a long way for us. I look forward to seeing everyone next year in Pennsylvania. Thank you.
Contributions of an individual who has run a scholastic league and competition in Pittsburgh for almost 10 years now, J. Gary Dropcho.
And there are other juniors that will play there if you invite them and you get past their attitude. And it's the hardest thing I've ever done in my life, except maybe make a 30-foot putt.
So this year we've got 2 volunteers of the year. First volunteer of the award, Jason Haas. Steve Gans.
John Sinclair, would you come up?
Is a fabulous senior player of the year.
One of the most wonderful things that the PDGA does is to provide fierce competitive experiences for older players. You have no idea how important this will be, but you will when you become really old.
The first of these awards is the Female Rookie of the Year, and the winner is Mandy Snodgrass.
This means so much to me. I just have to start off by saying that I love this sport. I got hooked 8 years ago playing with high school friends.
2003 Male Rookie of the Year, Miles Harding.
Accepting on behalf of Brian Graham, his mentor and cohort in Augusta, Georgia, Mr. Pete May.
I'm truly honored to accept this for Brian. Those of you that know Brian know what a great, great young man Brian is. Brian has one mantra about disc golf, and that is he does things for the good of the sport.
She won 18 events, including 5 national tours. She was the national tour champion and the 2003 world champion, winning the PDGA Player of the Year for a record 5th time, Juliana Korver.
The sport has given me a lot. I'm very, very fortunate to have found the sport. It has shaped who I am and what I've become, and I am grateful to all of you for being a part of that, and I'm grateful to the sport.
He was the national tour champion, the world champion, and the United States disc golf champion in an unforgettable playoff with Kenny. He won more than $40,000 on tour, breaking the previous record by more than 10,000. As I said, a season for the ages. The 2003 Male Player of the Year is Barry Schultz.
Thank everybody for the support over the years, and we'll look forward to a great couple of days ahead. Thanks.
Welcome to the 12th induction ceremony for the Hall of Fame. The Hall of Fame celebrates contributors to the sport who contribute with a passion that transcends personal gain.
California's most consistent great player has finished in the top 10 in the open division at the PDGA World Championships an amazing 10 times. Jeff Lissaman was the 2001 and 2002 U.S. Masters champion and has won $1,000 or more at an event 18 times. The most accomplished lefties in disc golf history. Johne Lissaman has won over 50 events playing in the Open and Masters division and finished in the top 4 over 150 times. Whether he's competing, teaching, or designing courses, Johne Lissaman is one of the true pioneers in the sport of disc golf.
Our next presenter is from the class of 1999, Sam Ferentz.
His professionalism has been instrumental in the success of the Fault Line Classic. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Marty Hapner.
I think this is the best Worlds I've ever been to, and I really like to thank all the Des Moines people. I take a second and I look at all the people standing up here that are already in this group, you know, and it's pretty amazing. I feel like I'm a very fortunate human being.
The way that he has taken it on and made it his own and continued to refine and improve it should be an inspiration to all of us, because that's how we get the rich fabric of all the wonderful things that you see. So let's hear it for Speedy. And when you talk to his friends, they say that really there is nothing else in his life that has been as dominant as his dedication to the sport.
This is just a fantastic honor for me. You don't know how much this means to me. To be associated with so many fantastic people already in the Hall of Fame. It doesn't seem quite real to be among them. Thank you very much indeed.
Congratulations, gentlemen.
It was 37 very determined women who marched onto the field of battle to see who would be the amateur women's world champion for 2004. From Illinois, Kelly Cross came out, took the lead after the first round on Monday, but Kelly Schwartz of Maryland said, that's enough of that, and boom, she was gone, and leaving everyone else to try to fight their way through Schwartz's dust. Cross would be battling back and forth for second and third spots. By the end of the week, going into the finals, it's Schwartz by 7 over Illinois' Kelly Cross, Washington's Teresa Bellinger, and Sarah Korniak of Wisconsin.
We'll pick up the action on hole number 1 here at DMAC. This is our leader, Kelly Schwartz. Most of her life from Wisconsin, but she now lives in Beltsville, Maryland.
And with the exception of the first round, Schwartz has been leading all week long, and as long as she plays it smart here in the final 9, she is going to coast to victory.
Currently 7 strokes ahead of Kelly Crass, who's from Oswego, Illinois. In third place is Teresa Bellinger. She's from Vancouver, Washington.
And a very nice drive there. She's going to be putting.
Well, she's only 4 strokes behind Kelly, so maybe has a chance to make something happen here. And in fourth, it's Sarah Korniak from Madison, Wisconsin. She's 6 strokes behind Teresa. 3s around the horn for everybody on hole number 1, and 4s around the horn for everybody on hole number 2. We go now to hole number 3, which is still long, still open, and still treacherous. And Kelly Crass is going to be a little short. Kelly Schwartz, very smooth and confident under the basket, as is Sarah. Wow, and a great effort by Teresa. That was for a 4.
Her putting has been on all week long.
And unfortunately not the case for Kelly. She will take the lone 6 on that hole. We go now to hole number 4, where Crass has some trouble off the tee. That's her second shot, and it's a bit short.
I'm thinking she was worried about the water, which is only 20 feet or so behind this pin.
I don't blame her. Meanwhile, Schwartz and Horniak will have easy tap-ins for 3. This is for 3 for Crass. That's low. And Bellinger, she'll take a 3, and over the last 2 holes, she has picked up 2 strokes on Crass. That makes her now 2 strokes behind in the race for second place. Now to hole number 5. Mostly wide open. Couple of trees on the right, couple of trees on the left. And Teresa, she's just got a cannon.
It's about 325 to get to those trees, and Bellinger is there.
She hit that tree 8 feet up. It was still cooking, and Horniak gets a hold of this, but that's closer to the number 6 tee than the number 5 basket. She's going to have some work just to get back in play.
Yeah, a little grip lock there.
And Kelly Crass, safe but short. Sarah now. Long way to go. That's a good-looking rip. This would be a bonus 3 for anybody in this group. Basically just going to be hoping to get there in 3 and take a 4. Crass, her second shot leaves her this. And she will put that right up by the basket. Sarah working her way back. Third shot. There she goes. Kelly Schwartz. Going to give it a run, but she'll have a tap in 4. Teresa had some trouble with that tree. That's actually for 4 there, and it's money. So 4's around the horn, and we go to hole number 6, over the water, or maybe along the water.
Now that's an interesting strategy. You think she meant to go that far, right?
Well, that is kind of the safe route. It's actually shorter that way, but only if you're down by the water. She's going to have to pitch up. Teresa now, that looks strong, but it stalls out early, and it's wet. Sarah keeps it a little lower. Fading out toward the bank. Yes.
No, that went in the water.
It trickled into the water. I don't think she knows it. But look for the little splash here. No, there it is. That's going to cost her a stroke. So we got 2 in the water, 1 wide right, and Kelly Crass takes care of business. No problem on that one.
Playing it smart.
So Bellinger will elect to play from down by the water. That's a strong looking shot. Very well played. This is her third throw with the penalty shot. It's playing her fourth.
Still a long way to go, and look at this. She is going to be right there. Great shot from Bellinger.
That was fantastic. Oh, on hole number 6, it was a 4 for Crass. 5s for everybody else, but Crass takes in the box on 7 and just about put that one in the street. This hole's supposed to play over the corner of the water, and I would say kind of something like that.
Yeah, it's about 300, 320 or so to get across there.
And we know Teresa's got the gun for that. That's a good rip. Gonna head left a little bit, but she's been putting pretty well. Sarah Koronek, a little high. Gonna fade out a little bit. Plenty safe there. And here now, Crass from up by the road. That's actually gonna come up a little short. Looks like she's gonna maybe losing the momentum that she picked up there on 6. And there's Bellinger. Hey!
Another close one.
Man, she's been all over it. This now is for 3. Just a little low. This one, however, is for deuce. And you can count it.
The smile of a player soon to turn pro, I'd say.
And we move on to hole number 9. And Teresa got a hold of that one, but it's got a lot of work to do.
Almost got the skip off the pond scum.
No, I don't know if the pond scum helps skips or not. We might need to do some research into that. Look, it's trying. That was just a little too far out there. Not going to come back. On yet another beautiful day at this unbelievable World Championships.
Oh, what an incredible week it's been. The weather's been perfect. Everything has been running smoothly. It's just been fantastic.
We had threats of rain on a couple days, but I don't know that we got a single drop all week, and that looks like it's going to carry through all the way through the finals today. And here is our leader, soon-to-be champion. Not going near the water, not going near the trees, just keeping it in play and cruising on home.
Now you'll see what's happening here. After she's gone out of bounds, the group is helping Teresa determine where she went OB. She's going to take a meter in from the OB spot and take her next shot.
And everybody seems to be happy with the placement. This is a good, strong, low shot, well away from the water and stays inside the tree. She should be happy with that. Kelly Crass gets a little extra advice from her caddy, and look at how she just keeps that elbow so straight. Still gets lots of power.
Sure enough, not much bend there in that elbow.
Hey, it works for her. That's a little bit left. She's going to have some trees to deal with there. Second shot for Schwartz. Just keeping it in play, everything nice and smooth and safe. Look at Sarah smiling. She hasn't even thrown yet. Just always seemed to be enjoying herself this week, and that is a fine-looking shot.
Yeah, that fought its way through those trees just fine.
Oh, and look, we have a good Samaritan fishing the disc out of the water for Teresa. I hope that wasn't the disc that I saw on eBay last week. I feel pretty confident that he gave it back. I'm going to ask for an autograph or something first, but see if we can close everything down here. Well, Crass caught a couple trees there. Teresa lays it right up. Sarah lays it right up. And Crass going to have to go down on a knee. She puts it under the basket. And here is our champion, closing it out in style. Kelly Schwartz is your winner. Kelly Crass in second. Sarah Koronek will take fourth. And Teresa Bellinger, she'll take third in her division. But earlier in the week, she actually won a world title in the pro division. That's when she teamed up with Dave Feldberg in the mixed doubles. Let's take a look at how that went Saturday.
Our pro mixed doubles winners are David Feldberg and Teresa Bellinger of Oregon. Now, Teresa, let's start with you. This is a pro event. You're an amateur player. What were you even doing out there?
Dave asked me to be his partner at Pro Mixed Doubles, and I said, sure, sounds like fun.
Now, it came down to a very exciting finish. 3-way tie for first place. There was a playoff. What happened, Dave?
Well, we got to hole 10. It was alternate shot at Ewing, and it was Korver and Sinclair, Shaq and Stevens, and me and Teresa. And Sinclair took the pad and turned it over, and they were going to get a 3, it looked like. And Shaq went left, and I bombed a 570-foot drive all the way up to the pin. And Stevens threw long and took a 4, and Korver put it right under the basket. And so she stepped up to the 50-foot lie.
Dave told me to lay up.
Oh, Dave, you told your partner to lay up. This is for a championship, a world title. You said lay up.
Well, we were guaranteed to have second and go to another hole with Korver and Sinclair. That's how you play. You got to play strategy. But I told her afterwards it takes a good shot and a great shot to win a world title, and she floated it right in, headwind, 50-footer right in the heart. If she would have missed it, we would have gotten third because it would have went way past the basket. It went right in the heart.
Your Pro Mixed Doubles champions. It is a historic event, and history is being made at Worlds 2004. If you are looking for tough competition at this year's Worlds, you need look no further than the Advanced Men's Division. Now, despite having a huge field of 278 players, all eyes were on one guy, North Carolina's Justin Jernigan. Now, while we look at some of the action from earlier in the week, let me tell you a little bit about this guy. At age 18, Justin Jernigan has just gotten out of high school, and already within the past year, he's turned down about $1,200 in pro earnings. He played in and placed very well at last year's U.S. Disc Golf Championships, but he has had one goal on his mind, and that is to be the amateur world champion. And in preparing for this tournament, he says he's been putting for about an hour every night. Yeah, I think that's goal-driven. Justin Jernigan was one of only 2 players to reach the finals who shot no rounds in the 60s this week. So a very, very rare talent in Justin Jernigan. And as you might expect, he came out with an early lead by the end of round 4. His lead was 10 strokes. So who else was in the hunt? A guy named Alexi Bubas of Arkansas was shooting very well all week long, along with Brody Miller of Oregon. Nathan Sexton, also of Oregon, and Nevada's David M. Shaw were all jostling, trying to find a way to catch Jernigan. None of it was going to happen. Jernigan just would not be touched. And going into the finals, Jernigan had a 17-stroke lead, followed by Bubas of Arkansas. 4 strokes behind him in third place is Brody Miller of Oregon, and Nathan Sexton, also of Oregon, sitting in fourth. Now, one thing about these guys from Oregon, now, Oregon not really known for kicking out a lot of disc golf talent. Sure, there's some very talented players who come out of there, but lately we've seen these 2 guys. We've seen Teresa Ballinger, and I have to wonder if the presence of a couple of top pros just arriving recently in Oregon has anything to do with this spike in talent coming out of there. David Fehlberg and Avery Jenkins about a year ago moved to Portland to attend school. And I just have to wonder how much influence those 2 pros are having in this great talent coming out of Oregon. So let's see what happens for the advanced men in the final 9.
Up first on hole number 1, our leader, who has had a very, very impressive week from Sanford, North Carolina. This is Justin Jernigan.
And he is looking fairly untouchable at this point. Great drive. That's probably the best we've seen all day.
No doubt about that. Don't get much better. Second place from Fayetteville, Arkansas. This is Alexei Bubis. Another guy with a big arm. In third, 4 strokes behind Alexei, is Portland, Oregon's Brody Miller. We saw his sister Valerie earlier in the day. These guys are good.
Mm-hmm.
And in fourth place, also from Oregon, Nathan Sexton. Now to hole number 3, where Nathan puts his sidearm under the pin. Justin's a little bit hot, but stays in bounds. Alexei puts his under the pin. That's going to be a drop in 4. Now this is Brody for 3 on the 920-footer, and he's got it. He'll pick up a stroke on Alexei here.
I think that's the first 3 we've seen on this hole today.
And now we go to hole number 4. That's for deuce. And you can count that. Alexei is going to take a bogey on this hole. And that's going to put Brody 1 shot behind him in the race for second. This is Nathan for deuce, and he's got that one. Oh, things getting a little exciting in the race for second place. Justin takes a birdie there as well, and we go to hole number 5. Give these guys a real good opportunity to show the kind of length that they have. Look how far that got out there without even barely getting off the ground. And we see a rare backhand out of Nathan. Justin. Beautiful looking shot. I have a feeling he's going to make a fine professional player. Now Alexei, who needs to stop the bleeding. That is low and turned over, and there's not much trouble on this hole, but he got some.
A lot of players find themselves in those trees today.
His putt for 3 is not going to go. Justin, just off the chains. He'll take a 4. Nathan having himself a good round. That's a 3. And Brody now, this is for 3. Not a problem. And after 5 holes, he is now tied with Alexei. He just picked up 4 strokes on the last 3 holes, and the race is on for second. Ahead now to hole number 7. And that's a little bit wide, Brian. I'm wondering why a guy with this kind of arm is using a driver on a hole like this.
Good question there.
Alexei goes to the hyzer route. We haven't seen that before. Pushes through the trees, leaves himself a pretty good looking putt. Back to the dependable sidearm for Nathan. This hole's been kind to sidearmers today. Look at this. He just about skipped one in the hole.
Sexton and Jernigan, the only players in this final 9 to have 0 rounds in the 60s this week.
Pretty impressive. As is that drive. So, we've got a tie here, and that...
Oh, my.
Look at this. That putt was darn near perfect. Little hot, little high. He's going to take a 3, so that's going to open the door for Alexei. Nice looking birdie there.
And Jernigan automatic. He putts for about an hour every night.
That is a deuce. And Alexei now takes second place all by himself, 1 stroke ahead of Brody. And on hole number 8, Alexei birdied, where Brody parred, and Alexei going into hole number 9, which we're watching now has a comfortable 2-stroke cushion in the race for second. And that was a very impressive drive from our leader and about to be champion. Nate goes to the backhand, keeps it away from the water. And Brody, he's got just one chance here. That's going to go a little wide. And that'll be all she wrote for these guys. That's the future of pro disc golf. It's Jernigan, Bubis, Miller, and Sexton.
It was a bit of a shock for most players in the Pro Masters division this year when they saw Al Sugar Shack walking up and said, "Hey fellas, let's go." This being the first year that Sugar Shack was eligible to participate in the Masters. That was a shock to everybody except two-time defending Masters World Champ Brad Hammock, who said, "Bring it, Shug." And after a few rounds of jostling about, Brad Hammock had the lead by a bunch after a hot world's best up to that point round at Ewing on Tuesday. Holy cow, he shoots a 5 under, and he is going to lead by 7 at that point. Now, he was going to increase his lead on Thursday after Sugar Shack overslept and got to the course with about 5 minutes to spare. He got a little putting time in, and then the 2-minute warning said, "Saddle up, boys!" And it was a 14-stroke lead for Hammock at the end of Thursday. He was going to increase that lead to 20 after the semifinal round, so he is untouchable at this point going into the final 9. The battle will be for second place between Shack and Alabama's Dean Tannick, who trails Shack by 4. Filling out the final card is California's Andrew Back.
Brad Hammock is the man.
From Tony, Alabama, Dean Tannick.
Dean Tannick currently in third place. But Brad Hammock is putting on a show this week, coming off back-to-back wins in this Master Division in Houston and Flagstaff. Got a little wide on that one. Second place from Whitmore Lake, Michigan, Al Sugar Shack.
And he's making a bid for chains here.
Well, we still haven't seen an ace on this hole yet today. Dean Tannick from Tony, Alabama, once finished second in the Open Division at the World Championships. That was in his hometown area of Huntsville. And here's a nice surprise. First time in the Final Four at Worlds, Andrew Back, who had moved to California from Ohio. Well, he seemed to spend most of his time this year on the road.
He has been a road warrior and shooting very well all season.
So on hole number 1, it's deuces for Shack and Back. We go to hole number 4. This is Hammock.
He's on the beach.
And that's pretty much the way his week's been going. This is Tannick, who just got a 3 on the previous hole, 920-foot hole number 3. He's off the top here. That was for deuce. That is a deuce for Shack. Back for deuce. Just a little high. And Tannick on his comebacker, he will take a par, and we will move on to hole number 5.
I love that aggressive putting style of Tannick's.
He makes it happen. Al Shack up first. Yeah, for old guys, they certainly can put it out there. That one's a little low, but still getting a good ride and right down the middle. Brad Hammock has such a quick release. He puts so much on it.
He came into this week with a rating of 1,016, had 4 rounds in the 40s this week.
Now, watch this. Look at Dean. Think those trees are a problem? I think we'll just throw right past them. He is a big gunner. Now, Brad for 3. This 540-foot hole. Oh, darn. A little short there. Nice putt from Andrew. He'll take a 3. Al will take a 3. And Dean the Bomber takes a 3 as well. We move on to hole number 6 going across the water. Look at these guys. They're not thinking about playing safe. They're not even trying to flex something out there. They just throw a hyzer out there and let it fall back.
No, Shug could have gone another 15 degrees out, and look at this. Another beauty.
Man, I'm telling you. That guy's got a gun. Andrew, he's pulling it out there. That's taking a little bit of a risk.
I think he learned from the first 2 drives.
He was just teasing us. Now Brad, a little excitement. Now Brad Hammock weighing in at 1/4 inch shorter than yours truly.
I tell you, he is an inspiration to all vertically challenged disc golfers.
Yeah, maybe an eighth of an inch. That's a heck of a drive. Second shot for Shaq. It's about long enough, a little bit left. Hammock. That's right there. He's going to have a tap in for a 3. Back. Whoa, that's a little deep. It was bouncing down there. Didn't quite make it to the water. Dean goes to school. And he actually came up a bit shy there. And his par putt went deep. This is his comeback now for a 4. Not quite. He's going to take a 5. And that's how it's going to end up. It's Brad Hammock, Al Shack, Dean Tannick, and Andrew Back. I heard that you had a secret weapon working this week. What was that?
Yes, that would be my shades that I'm sporting right now by Easton. I believe they make baseball bats. I'm an old baseball player. I found these shades in Minnesota, and when I put them on, much to my surprise, I found out that they seem to magnify or illuminate or somehow make the basket look bigger.
This year you had some new talent in the Masters division, especially Indeed. Al Shack, one of the all-time greats, and through the first 3 rounds, you two were neck and neck, and you just pulled away from everybody in round 4 when you got to Ewing. What happened?
You know, I really got my mental game going in the right direction there. I switched, I think, from a match play mentality to more of a play your game, play the course mentality, and don't worry about, you know, the other players in the group so much. It wasn't necessarily that I was playing Al, but I got off to a slow start that round. But as it progressed, you know, Al was always 1 or 2 ahead of me. So then I had to kind of match his shots, because when we went to Iowa State, he was 11 under through 13 holes. And I was 8 under and had lost 3 strokes. So it was kind of that kind of deal. I was forced to come up with some answers, you know, to his great play, or else I was going to fall way behind early. I thought about tempo and how I was kind of just taking off the tees. You know, it's an exciting event. Disc golf is an exciting game, as we all know. And it's easy to get ahead of yourself and to want to get out there and start getting things done. Play the game you want and stay out of everyone's way, and you should be able to play the game you want as long as it's sportsmanlike and within the rules. So that's what I tried to do. You know, obviously, I have my mindset on what I was trying to accomplish, you know, and I have been working hard all year. And
you were here before anybody else.
I prepared very well, you know. The first time my arm's been sore all year since early in the season was practicing for these courses, and it was an incredible challenge. Not only the diversity, but the degree of difficulty of the courses, and the fact that you have to, you know, joust around from course to course so far away, and you had to manage your time well. You know, there's a lot going on. It's a busy week.